Lovely.
Good evening. Welcome to episode 21 of the Pod. We're back and we're better than ever with your hosts, Owen and Mark. It's great to be here again. This week we're talking about a lot of things.
Loads of stuff.
Loads of things. So much on the docket this week. We don't know what to do.
I know, there's too much on the docket.
Too much, yeah. I love that.
I love how, we're also corona-free, I guess, so.
Yeah, we're officially out of lockdown, which also means we're immune to the virus, which means we can do whatever we want now.
Got that early access to the vaccine, which was just, catching coronavirus.
Yeah, it's simple. It's so simple. I don't know why people didn't think of it. Now we can go back to our lives, licking doorknobs and, bus stops and stuff like that.
And
can't wait.
Kissing each other.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so lonely up here.
In your tower.
In my ivory tower. Yeah, how you been on? How's life?
Well, it's only been 2 days since we talked, but I'm pretty fucking good, Mark.
Yeah.
Just been going on walks with the dog, listening to a bit of music, trying to get back into music. Want to improve my my Spotify rap from what it was in 2020, because at the start of lockdown, like, my family got really into Hamilton, and I knew what was going to happen when I got to my Spotify 2020 Wrapped was that it was going to be dominated by Hamilton. And I sat there for 9 months and I let that happen. And my Spotify was just dominated by Hamilton. I was like, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah.
So this year, it's going to be dominated by the Shrek 2 soundtrack.
Shrek the musical soundtrack.
Shrek the music, which is a far superior musical.
Very, very good musical. Yeah, I've been doing sort of the same thing. Went for a walk yesterday. It's good to be out in fresh air.
Oh man, it's needed.
It is needed. It's good to see the sun. I actually didn't see the sun yesterday, but
It'll be back.
It's not very good weather. It'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back. You'll get it next time.
Yeah, I'll get him next time. But yeah, not much really. Not much really happening. Things are sort of coming to a standstill, except in the US.
Yeah.
At the moment.
I wonder if the Civil War has started by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah, weird things happening there. As always, though.
As always, nothing new.
Nothing new.
Have you watched much, or have you just been going?
I haven't really. It's stuck to The Sopranos,
Fair.
Watched a bit of that. I'm like a few episodes into season 4. It's grand, I was going to watch a film last night, but then I saw it was like 2 hours. And I was like,
yeah, man, we got a question about that later on, about how long films can be. And man, I'm starting to feel that now, where I'm just like, 2 hours. Why can't you just be like Texas Chainsaw and just be 80 minutes?
Exactly, yeah. Cut to the chase. Boom.
But having said that, not every film. We'll get on to it later on, but not every film.
Yeah. I'm just sort of getting tired of films. Films sort of finished, Cinema.
Done.
It's done. I've seen them all.
I finished the Shrek franchise. What more does cinema have to offer?
There's nothing more to say here. It's just, that's it.
That's it. That's the end of the podcast. We've run out of films to talk about.
Yeah, we have to go into strange new territory. God knows where we'll go next.
Some other paro fucking places on the internet.
Yeah, maybe. We'll become scholars.
Or we could just talk about books or some shit. I don't know.
Books, yeah. That's so hard, though.
Fuck that,
no way
man.
I'm reading a book a week.
It's like a book. No, if we did it every week, it'd be like, yeah, so this is what happened in the last 15 pages of my book.
Yeah, that's the issue what happened.
Oh, man, I'm such a slow reader now. It's fucking
Same.
ridiculous. I can't.
Getting too old.
I remember, when Rachel was saying to us, do you not just sit down and read all day? It's like, no. I get bored after, a couple of pages.
Yeah, my attention span, non-existent, Even for films, Maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe that speaks to a fault on our part, a failing.
That's why TikTok is amazing, though. TikTok's great for that.
I never got into TikTok, to be honest.
Let me tell you, man, you get into TikTok, you'll never watch another film again. At max, your attention has to hold for a minute.
Yeah. Nah, I've seen many good things, but I haven't got into it, Maybe that's the next frontier of cinema, of media.
Podcasts is talking about TikToks.
Yeah. TikTok review. That could be a segment, I don't know.
Who knows? Definitely not. Fuck that.
No, we tried that before. Didn't work.
I actually think at this stage as well that we've been recording on Zoom longer than we have in person, I'm pretty sure.
That's fucking sad.
Yeah, I know, it is fucking sad.
But that's what comes with the territory, starting this in the middle of a global pandemic.
We're flexible, though, which is a good thing.
Yeah, flexible AF.
Haven't in 21 weeks, we haven't missed a week.
That's very true. That's very admirable. Also, we have nothing else to do.
Yeah, also, there's fucking nothing else we're doing, so.
Yeah.
Like, this is the second time where we've had to record a double, like, twice in a week.
We've made our mistakes, but we got there.
We got there in the end.
We
survived.
Yeah.
Not unlike Mandy. Mandy, she did not survive.
Mandy, yeah, jeez. What a film.
Yeah.
What a film.
I watched that on Monday. Wow, holy fucking shit. That's a movie. That's a movie right there.
It's something else altogether.
Yeah, so I sat down. I think off podcast we were talking about Mandy after on Sunday. And the next day I was like, I'm just gonna fucking watch Mandy. Why do I not? Because I was thinking like, excuse me. Will I watch Over the Black Rainbow? Is that what it's called?
Beyond the Black Rainbow, yeah.
Beyond the Black Rainbow. Have you seen that?
I have indeed. Many moons ago.
I was saying to you,
yeah. Back when I didn't understand what was going on, and to be honest, I don't think even I would now. It's one of those weird abstract films. Even Mandy doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, like narratively it makes sense, but there's just some shit that was like, what?
Yeah, why is that there?
You can nearly just chalk it up to like. I assume it's nearly the same with Beyond the Black Rainbow, where you can just kind of chop it up to, it was just drugs, because there's a point in the film where like Nicolas Cage, he's after killing a few of the fucking BDSM biker dudes, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's holding a jar, and it's a like clear liquid, and I was like, oh no, the film's gonna get really intense now, and it does. He takes a little dab of it, and his eye, he just goes, whoa.
Yeah. It is. I saw it in 2018 with my mom in the lighthouse.
What did your mom think of it?
She thought it was good.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's really weird because I saw Beyond the Black Rainbow in like 2015 or something, 2014 maybe. And like I didn't really get it, but I really appreciated the aesthetics and what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
In terms of like reaching beyond what you'd normally see in a film. And so like the same guy directed this.
I don't know how to pronounce his. Do you know how to pronounce his name?
Panos Cosmatos.
What a fucking name.
What a name, to be fair. Some Greek fella.
You know a film made by a guy with that name is gonna be fucking mental.
Yeah. Hey, where did he come up with that? Like that's his actual name. It's not like a.
It's not like a pseudonym or anything.
Yeah. But yeah. I was really excited for Mandy, and then we went to go see it, and it was grand. He was really good. But I don't remember much about it. I do know it's produced by Elijah Wood as well. I think we addressed that before.
Elijah Wood, what a
he's
fucking
gone into producing.
King.
And for some reason, he decided to produce this, and it's a trip.
God bless him, because like I fucking like genuinely right, because I was starting to feel that like slump nearly with like watching films, especially like after my intense fucking like week or so that I watched like fucking 8 films or something. That was just too much. I shouldn't do that. I just burn out watching films doing that. But yeah, I sat down and I watched it. I started it, and at the start I was like, oh, it's a bit slow. It's a little bit slow at the start, but I don't know at what stage it was. I was just sucked into the film with the aesthetics, and like the aesthetic. I think like really importantly is the aesthetics of this film. Like it's basically all aesthetic. It's very much like style over substance, I think, with Mandy. But when the style is this good, I don't fucking care. Like I can't imagine. I don't think there's nothing to like read into the film except for like, unless you want to talk about like how the film uses like kind of like pulp sci-fi novels as a kind of aesthetic, because Mandy is reading one of those in the film, and then like that's just kind of like, it is a sci-fi film kind of, I guess is how you. I don't know how to describe this. It's like a fucking. It is like, it's an acid trip, which is so easy to fucking describe it that way. But it is like an acid trip. It's like a sci-fi, psychedelic, bloody, gory. Only at the end though. Bloody, gory, fucked up, weird fucking film. I don't know how to describe it. Like
it's out there. It's definitely out there. It's definitely like psychedelic. Like there's like he takes LSD and all that stuff, and it's like it's a trip. It's like there's no like real logic behind it. Like it doesn't make sense if you think of it as like a straight narrative. Only if you sort of commit to the bit that Nicolas Cage is like basically gone completely insane.
My God,
that's what happens in the second half of the film.
And he's fucking amazing in this. I mean, he is so good because they're just like, yeah, we need someone to be crazy. How about we just get Nicolas Cage? And it's just used to perfection, like.
Yeah, how about we just get a guy who's actually crazy?
Yeah, it's like,
and it works.
It's like Nick Cage is like the fun kind of crazy, I guess.
Yeah, he's like zany. The scene in the bathroom,
man, that
is
bathroom.
really good.
Holy shit, he's just chugging a fucking like a fucking liter of vodka.
Yeah,
and like the room itself is like this weird orange with
it's like a dollhouse.
Yeah, yes, it's like a dollhouse. That's exactly what it's like. And it almost feels like they were just like, here, Mick, we just need you to go kind of crazy. There's a bottle of vodka in the drawer there if you want to use
it.
An
actual bottle of vodka. They have to suspend shooting for 2 weeks after that.
You have to get his
liver
stomach
failure.
But it does feel like that because there's a moment where like the camera like zooms in, but then Nicolas Cage stands up and it quickly like zooms up and then it zooms back in because they're like, oh shit, what's he doing? Like they're trying they're trying to like capture whatever fucking madness that he's going with or whatever. And then that just kind of progresses in the second half of the film where you get him like making a battle axe thing, or like this like all metal battle axe, and he uses that thing to fucking perfection as well.
Yeah, the action's really good.
The action is so good, and the special effects are really fucking good as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the fucking chainsaw fight where there's
man,
what the fuck?
Because it's not really like that. Like it's really weird like for the first half, and then it like descends into that where it's like David Lynch for the first half, and then the rest of it is like, I don't know, if someone gave David Lynch like acid and like stuck on fucking black metal in the background, you know?
Yeah, literally, yeah.
It's really weird.
But I don't, because like tonally it all works though. Like the film has such an amazing flow where like, because you've spent like an hour with Mandy and like you kind of understand like what she's like or whatever, and you feel for her, and like you understand the like fall, I guess, of Nick Cage's character. I have no idea what it is. Oh, Red is his name actually. Red. You understand like why he's gone and fucking insane and all. And I love one of the aspects that I love about this film is like I feel like if this was made by like fucking Gaspar Noé or something like that. Like if Gaspar Noé took this concept, there would be a brutal rape. Like there would be, but that doesn't happen in this film. And I was fucking shocked. I was like, I can't believe that didn't happen. Like and the main villain is like so fucking pathetic. Like he's there like he has this song playing in the background, which is about him, and he's there like taking off his clothes. He's like, "Look how fucking amazing I am," and she just laughs at his small dick.
Yeah. He's a small dick. Yeah, the villain is really weird. Because I know with Beyond the Black Rainbow, when I was looking into it again, like trying to figure out what
was going on,
about. yeah, what was actually going on. It's like a lot of stuff about the 60s versus the 80s, because this is set in 83. Which is the same year that Beyond the Black Rainbow opens up with 1983. Like that's the
Do they
the
take
title
place
card.
in the same universe? Do you think?
Maybe. Beyond the Black Rainbow is more like realistic, sort of,
or
more grounded, at least, because it includes like political stuff, like Reagan. Like they show a telecast where Ronald Reagan's giving an address about the Star Wars program.
Oh yeah.
And so it's sort of grounded in some kind of real world, but sort of about like the corruption of the 60s kind of I don't know, like flower power kind of thing to do with drugs and stuff. And the main doctor, Dr. Nile, he started out with this really like idealistic vision of a world where people like become their best selves, but by the 80s he's just taking like fucking pills and like prescription drugs, and he's like trapped this young girl who has psychic powers into like a box, something to do with the corruption, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
like how that sort of dream collapsed in the 70s and that whole thing. So I think with Mandy definitely is saying something about that as well, given that it's set in the same year and it's about like a hippie sort
And
of cult.
it's yeah, and it's a hippie cult, and the guy just basically believes that he's God from his like drug use or whatever. I don't. Yeah, because like it is that thing about like the 60s and the 80s, like the 60s being this like time of like free love or whatever, and then the 80s is just a moment where like that just completely, the 70s as well, but like the 80s in particular is where that comes fucking crashing down, and
Yeah,
there's
you get
just no.
American Psycho and shit.
Yeah, and you get these things that like and actually not to jump onto it now, but like Texas Chainsaw is like perfect for that like commentary of the 70s in between, where like things aren't going the way that they thought they were going to go. In the 80s is when like that realization really hits home.
Yeah.
And even that fact that like, you know, Mandy and Red are completely happy until this guy just decides, I want Mandy and I'm gonna fucking take her because I'm fucking God or Jesus. I'm, you know, I'm the hot shit basically, and she's
Yeah.
gonna want me, and she obviously rejects him. And even the thing like the heavy drug use, specifically because it's acid as well, is definitely like, you know, the hippies and acid, and you know, and I was almost certain as well that they were that Red and Mandy, they had like marijuana just growing in the gaff. I'm pretty sure you could see that in the background. Or at least I thought I saw it. So like there is that commentary about drugs.
Yeah, I don't really know what to fully think of it.
Yeah,
Mandy,
it's more
because I
just a
haven't seen
fucking
it since.
trip.
Yeah, it's more just a mad trip, you know. Like maybe, given what like I read about Beyond the Black Rainbow, it seems like they're definitely sort of connected, and it'd be interesting to see what he comes out with next. You know,
Yeah,
Cosmicos, like what's,
complete the trilogy.
you know, the 1983 trilogy. What's he saying about the 80s, man? You know, all that stuff, all the excess, the yuppies and the boys, and like corruption.
But there's like
You know,
I was like so into the film, and then like when Mandy like died, I like kind of came out of it, and then I was like, holy shit! I've been watching this for fucking an hour. I genuinely felt like I only started it. I was sucked into it, and then the like second half is just this fucking blast. Like it's so much fun. The second
yeah,
half, because Nicolas Cage is basically the most fucking badass 80s action hero, but in a really disturbing way. Because there is something slightly disturbing about this film, but it's not like the themes. I think it's just like how excessive it is
yeah. It's really over the top.
and
Like the way,
intense that way.
yeah. Like it doesn't take it so seriously at all. Like it's
No,
about
no.
like, you know, demon bikers show up and like
Oh man,
you
the
don't know
Demon
where they
Bikers
came
is
from.
so good.
You know, they're really good, and everything's so violent, and like Nicolas Cage just takes them on. Like he just kills everybody basically.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Cage has like he doesn't get injured at all. I thought there would be a moment where like he gets injured, but he kind of rallies himself. No, he gets fucking impaled to the ground with his hand, and he just rips his hand out, and he's fucking grand. He's good to
Yeah.
go. He sniffs
Yeah,
He
yeah.
sniffs a massive amount of coke, and then does a bit of acid. He's good
Yeah,
to go.
on the table. Yeah, after you brains that fella, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a power fantasy or like a that kind of thing maybe.
mm.
You know?
And then the ending where he's like he sees Mandy in the car, and he's like looking at her, and like I didn't know that that was the ending of the film because I've seen that gif so many times. There's Nicolas Cage with his eyes covered in blood, just like looking at her, and it is like this dude's fucking lost it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely out there, alright.
It's great. I fucking loved Mandy. I loved it. And even the kind of like the bad guys, because like they burn Mandy, and that's like not nowhere near as graphic as I thought it would be as well, because it's just a bag on fire, but it is like really fucked up.
It's
But
so fucked up, yeah.
it is like the cult themselves aren't really expanded on. Like you only get like one scene with them, but you completely understand like how fucking batshit insane they are, and like from that like one scene, you completely understand like how fucking mental they are. And then you realize that there is actually sci-fi shit going on in the film where like they have this like conch or like rock or some shit, and they just blow on the rock, and these BDSM biker demons show up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's after they all take like drugs, isn't it? I can't even remember.
I can't remember. I don't know if the hippies do drugs really. I don't think they do. Maybe they do. I'm not sure.
But yeah, it just goes out like fucking everywhere at the end. After Mandy dies, he just goes fucking crazy. This is the Panos Cosmatos' dad directed, Tombstone. He directed loads of fucking
like the fucking old like cowboy movies.
Yeah, he directed loads of normal movies, and then his son just goes and directs like these crazy like artistic, like avant-garde puzzles, basically.
Maybe that's what happens when you're like really, really when you're like family's really, really rich, and then you get really into acid.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And then you can just make all this fucking mental batshit insane films.
Yeah, I feel like if we had access to a budget and made a film, it'd probably look something like Mandy.
Man, I would only but like I would strive for something like that. I'd be like, here, and even the music in it. The music in it is fucking amazing.
The music's amazing.
Oh, the music is so fucking good. I was listening to the soundtrack afterwards, and I was like, it's like a mixture of like 80s or like 70s, 60s, 80s sci-fi synth music mixed with like these like heavy drums that like are reminiscent like metal or something. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, Crimson King and stuff. It's really good.
Really, really,
it was
really
the guy Johan Johansson, the Icelandic fella, who did Endless Summer. Remember the movie film we talked about with the penguins?
Oh yeah. I was like Endless Summer. Yeah. Even the name that you said, I was like, I recognize that name, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
But did he do the score for this? Did he?
Yeah, he did score for like Prisoners and Sicario and like all them kind of films.
Insane.
Mother, he was a great guy. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, he's like good with synths and like that sort of like techno stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose like electronic music.
Yeah, like because this is like music kind of reminds me of like something like Aphex Twin or something nearly.
Yeah.
But more droney.
Yeah,
and,
it's definitely a mad 80s vibe in there.
Yeah, it is. It is like an 80s film, like literally like on acid. Because like it's really hard to, because I knew that the film was like really like reds and blues, but I didn't realize how fucking amazingly it uses those reds and blues to like create this like beautiful fucking tones, and like it kind of in a way it helps to like hide the because I can't imagine that the practical effects, if they were in like normal light, would look fucking amazing. I can't imagine that because I don't think this is a hugely budget film, but because it's shot the way that it is and it's lit the way that it is and it uses the colors the way that it uses colors, it masks that a little bit. And it just made it like more effective because your brain kind of like fills in the blanks.
Yeah, it's like shot really smartly, like the effects would not work in broad daylight. Like the color palette definitely plays into its into like the practical aspects of it, like how it's shot and stuff.
And this isn't even like a film that you could like. I know that like maybe it was a bit of a spoiler for people that I mentioned that Mandy dies. It's not like it does not matter at all. Like the plot.
Yeah. That's only like that happens, but like it's halfway through. It's not even like I don't know. It sort of is the inciting incident, but within like the film doesn't follow like a conventional 3-act structure really. So
no, it's like it's like a 2-act film.
Yeah. It's like a one of those, what do you call it? Diptych, like a film. It's like 2 parts, two very distinct parts.
Mandy's death, and then the end of like the film is like the birth of this, of whatever the fuck red is at the end of the film is like the birth of that. Another thing about the color that I wanted to mention is I love how like the film will just use color, like even if it makes no sense. Like he'll be driving at night and behind the trees is just like bright red. And it's just like, it just works. It just works perfectly to like set the tone of whatever scene it is, which I really appreciate. It's like this film's not going for realism. It's just whatever is needed to like set the tone, set the vibe of a scene. That's what we're gonna go with. And I appreciate the film doing that.
Yeah, it's really very adventurous. You know, and it's not made by any like big companies. Like it's a proper like independent feature as well.
I think it's because I watched it on Shudder, and I think it says on the poster that it's a Shudder exclusive. Now, I don't think Shudder funded it. I think they just own the rights to it now. I don't think Shudder was around when this film came out.
No, it's like Netflix originals that aren't Netflix originals. Yeah.
They're
it's just like exclusive to Netflix.
Yeah.
In terms of streaming.
I'm gonna be watching this film like soon enough, not like majorly soon, but like soon enough, because like it was just a fucking blast. I need to like show people this film. I feel like
oh, definitely, yeah.
It's like you need to experience the trip that is Mandy.
Yeah, you gotta evangelize this stuff.
Because like not many people have seen this. Like a lot of people have seen this film, but like not like loads of people.
Yeah, it's like a cult film already, but it's not like that well known.
Yeah,
so.
it has like instant cult status.
Yeah.
And everyone that I know that's seen the film like loves it. Like I haven't met anyone that doesn't like this film.
Yeah, it's like it's so like original, and like you just appreciate how far it goes, like beyond what's expected of it. That like it's hard not
cathartic.
to like it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like everyone loves a revenge film, you know. Like it's very cathartic in the sense that he like takes on basically an entire commune of crazy hippies and then a gang of demonic bikers. But you feel as if it's actually happening, even though it's just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That sort of revenge fantasy thing.
Yeah, because it's like, I think the film does a really interesting thing with its main villain, because like he's such a narcissistic asshole, but you realize that like he's a fucking coward as well. Like he begs for his life. He's literally like Tourette at the end. He's like, man, I'll suck your dick, I'll do anything, please don't hurt me. After him like completely like slaughtering everyone around him, he's like, come on man, don't kill me, I'll literally suck your dick. Like he's completely pathetic. And then he just has this moment, it's like, oh, I'm fucking God. You can't do anything to me. You can't hurt me. And the way that he talks down to Red is like, he's like, you're just a husk, you're a pig. You don't have a spirit. You're not the chosen one like me and my followers, or whatever. And then you contrast him with the demon biker gang, who you just like, they're so sinister, and you just know that they're like brutal evil bastards, that you're just like, either both of them are like so well set up that like you're so glad when Red kills them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And there's also moments that are like little segments that are animated, and it just again fits into the film.
Yeah, it really plays with the boundaries, you know, and expectations. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Never know what's gonna happen. Yeah, you literally don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, except there's gonna be you expect there's gonna be some crazy like metal ending to it, you know, and that's that is what happens. But you don't know how you're gonna get there, and it's just like how it escalates.
It's great.
On
great
the way.
Film.
What a film!
Loved it. Do you want to move on to a bit of another chainsaw movie? Actually.
Oh yeah. Another chainsaw, another power tool themed film. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is our little recommended film for the week. I'm sure everyone has seen this. It's iconic. It's one of the great horror films, one of the original slasher films, released in 1974, way back in the day.
This thing's nearly 50 years old.
Yeah, Jesus. Time flies. Time flies. Loosely based on factual occurrences, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre tells the bizarre story of a deadly encounter between a group of 5 teenagers and a demented family of cannibals in rural Texas in 1973, whose transgressive practices include grave robbing, self-mutilation, torture, murder, and cannibalism. In order to make ends meet, the cannibals continue to practice the family business by selling human flesh as barbecue at the local gas station. One by one, the teens are butchered by the chainsaw-wielding Leatherface. That was a very long synopsis, but that's basically what the film is about.
Jeez, I was expecting that to be way fucking shorter. But that like, cause like that is what the film is about. And I didn't even realize as well until this watch that he's selling fucking human meat as barbecue food. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the cook.
I noticed that he did do it, but I didn't realize that the teenagers bought the meat from him.
Yeah.
Because I was always wondering, like, where the fuck did Franklin get that sausage that he's chewing on?
Yeah, and he spits it out and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. You feel so bad for Franklin all throughout this film because he just gets fucked up and he gets the wrong end of the stick the entire time.
Boy, does he! And he's the
Yeah.
only one that dies by a chainsaw.
Yeah, Jesus, and he dies bad. That's a
He
terrible death
dies
as well.
bad. Franklin dies bad.
Yeah.
What do you think about this film?
I think it's one of the greats. One of the greats.
Mhm.
It's one of those like, it's a lot like what we're talking about there. Mandy, Beyond the Black Rainbow. It's like really, it doesn't play it straight at all. It doesn't pretend to be like a really conventional film. It's more like a psychic kind of horror. You know,
Yeah.
it's about
yeah.
society and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like it's really like specifically about the time that it was made in.
Oh, it's like hyper focused on that period.
Yeah, the 70s and stuff. But it was released in it was released in 74, but shot in 73, and it takes place in 1973, which is like against the backdrop of the whole OPEC gas crisis and stuff like that. The petrol blockades and stuff, which really plays into the film. Like that's why the teenagers run into the family, into
That's
the
why they get
the
stranded
cannibals.
as well, kind of.
Yeah, because there's a shortage of gas. Plus,
The Vietnam War.
yeah, the Vietnam War and stuff like that. Like it starts with the conceit that this is a true story based on true events, which is like really common now. It's like a really common conceit to have in a film. But this sort of started it off properly because it plays into its context as well. I think Hooper was the director, Tobe Hooper. He mentioned,
R.I.P..
is he dead?
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, he mentioned Watergate and like how the Vietnam War was depicted, which is a big thing about the Vietnam War. The way like people hadn't seen war up front ever.
Yeah, it's like the first time they actually see like violence on your screen, like actual, real. This is what war looks like.
Yeah, and
It's why they never let that shit happen again.
Yeah, which is why they cut that. They nit that in the bud right there. But the conceit of this film, the whole based on true events, is like a slap in the face, like sort of a response to that. Like it's not true, but like also anything that you hear from the government also isn't true and stuff like that. And even like the economic depression that comes with the 70s is pretty much like a global economic depression, and like what followed specifically from the gas crisis, like that's sort of embodied in the family, like the cannibals, like they're made redundant by
Technology.
Technology in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
So they sort of, move the slaughterhouse to their own fucking gaff and start, killing people, like whatever's closest. But it's still, it's not as if they're just lashing out blindly. They're like a chainsaw themselves. They're just like tools. You leave it running, and they'll just cut into the closest thing to them. Like they're just innovating a living for themselves, like the only way they can, which is by slaughtering people, which is what their job was before.
Yeah, and like this in Psycho, in the 50s and 60s, like horror films generally, like it was always like, the Red Scare, like sci-fi horror films was, or the things like the Blob or whatever, it was this other thing coming to America. Whereas in Psycho and Texas Chainsaw, like the horror and the violence and the evil is American. It's no longer something coming to us, like, Frankenstein or like Dracula or, aliens or shit like that. That's no longer the case. It's now America, and it's a family. And it's the American family that is what's corrupted and what's fucked up. Like in Psycho, Norman Bates and his mom. I'm pretty sure they're incestual. I'm pretty sure that's like in the film. It's in the
series, Bates Motel.
It's in the series. I'm assuming it's in Psycho, although I can't really remember. But regardless, Norman Bates and his mom, whatever her name is, they don't have like, a good relationship. They don't have a healthy relationship.
Yeah, Norma Bates.
Yeah. And then in Texas Chainsaw, it's the exact same thing, where it's an American family, but they're all sorts of fucked up, and they're fucked up from.
They're not doing too good.
They ain't doing too good. This family, I think, they're not named in this one, but for some reason I want to say that they're called the Sawyers. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like they're called the Sawyer family.
The Sawyers, but they're not named. They don't have a name.
They're
just archetypes. Like you have the breadwinner, the cook who owns the gas station. You have the rebellious teen, the hitchhiker, and then you have Leatherface, who's takes on like the
role of
sort
the
of the
man.
guys. Yeah, takes on he literally dresses up as a housewife at one point.
Yeah, and he's like, and like your man's just like, get back in the kitchen and stuff like that, and he's like beating his wife, who's
Yeah.
also his son, I
His
think.
son, yeah.
I don't know what and you don't know what the relationship between, like, you understand that the hitchhiker, because he's not named, but the hitchhiker and Leatherface, they're brothers. But the guy that owns the petrol station, I'm not sure if he's like a brother to them or if he's the dad.
I think he's the dad, because the grandpa is his dad.
Oh, is okay? Well,
Yeah.
then, yeah.
And the grandpa's like barely alive, and they even
yeah.
keep the
That dude is not doing good.
yeah, he's not doing too great.
That fella looks like fucking
he needs a cup of water.
Prince William, whatever the fuck his name. Which were Prince?
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Prince Philip.
Prince
Yeah.
Philip.
yeah, he's not doing too good. But yeah, it's like they even keep like the grandma, like the grandfather's wife who's dead. They keep her in the attic, just like in Psycho.
Yeah, just to
Like,
keep her there.
Yeah, she's just there, but like I don't know, they just keep her there anyway. It's just like a really extreme parody of the family unit.
The nuclear family.
The nuclear family, yeah. Except instead of, consuming products, they consume human flesh, which is the whole thing. They turn humans themselves into products and into meat, into things that to be consumed. Even the way the teenagers, they're like consuming the barbecue. They eat there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, whatever. That's literally what that's all about,
Yeah.
Without even knowing, they're consuming human meat just by buying anything.
Yeah, just by doing anything and buying anything, they're aiding this machine that has caused this. Yeah, fucking hell, it's some fucking film. Holy shit, it's such a layered film. Like you could talk about like the family dynamic like extensively, and you can talk about the oil crisis that's in the background, and like the 70s as a period of time, and how Texas Chainsaw emerges out of that. And then you can talk about, the obvious example, which is the comparison between like, the meat industry and how we treat animals and shit like that. Like this, there's so much in this film. There's even like the fact that it's based on Ed Gein, and what Ed Gein was for America was this realization that, oh shit, middle America ain't doing too good. They're like, they've got nothing to do. And it's like, we always, we constantly coming back to Harmony Korine, but like, it is that middle America, there is nothing to fucking do. And, Korine kind of has like this like kind of poetic beauty to how he portrays that. Meanwhile, Texas Chainsaw is like this reflection of like this fear of, oh shit, what if like, they start eating people, and like, that's how bad things have gotten in middle America, and especially because it's Texas, like Texas being, the American state, like basically, and the Wild West and all that shit. Like this is the earth of Texas is fucking red with blood. It's a red state, but it's also red with blood. You know what I mean?
It's bad soil, bad seeds.
Bad soil, and that's reflected in in the Sawyer family. That like we can assume that they've been there for generations. They have never left that fucking house. They have always been there, and this is the result of it, that they've been left behind by modern society. They've literally lost their work because of technology, and this is what they've been reduced to. They have nothing, so all they can do is just eat people, because that's what you gotta do to survive.
They're innovators. They're small business owners. They're working with what they have. That's literally what it is. They're capitalists. They're the perfect subject. They work with what they've been given.
Even like the fact that they reuse everything. Like their entire furniture and shit is made out of humans and stuff, because whatever you fucking get, you gotta use. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
They're making lemonade by the fucking barrel full, They reuse everything. Like nothing is put to waste. Everything is like so optimized and efficient. But like in a really like, you can almost tie it to Sorry to Bother You, like the logic.
The logic is sound.
The logic is sound. Like they reuse everything. It's very efficient. Their business is obviously pretty successful, and
it's not rational.
yeah. They've been subsisting for a while. Like I know people like the main inspiration was like Ed Gein, But Hooper, I read an interview where Hooper was talking about a different inspiration was this kid called Elmer Wayne Henley, who was like he was like in cahoots with a serial killer called Dean Corll, and he killed Corll after they'd killed about like 30, 40 young men in Houston, I think, back in the 70s.
Oh,
But when,
wait, is this the one where the guys worked as like they took care of kids or something? Is this the one?
No.
Okay, no, never mind. This is something else then. Sorry,
Yeah, it's sort of similar to like John Wayne Gacy and stuff. But like basically they killed like 40 kids, and he was also a kid, Elmer Wayne Henley. But when he was caught after killing the main guy, he was like, I did all this, like I'm gonna accept the fact that I did this, and I'll do my bit, like I'll go to prison, I'll like take my punishment. And Hooper was saying that he wanted to explore that sort of inbuilt sense of morality, like that logic to it. Like Henley was like, I was caught, and now I'll follow the rules. I'll take my punishment, which is sort of the thing that the Sawyers do, or like Leatherface and stuff. Like they lose out. They're made obsolete by technology, and so they've nothing left. They live out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they've no skills. They only know how to slaughter things, and so they make use of that. They innovate. They create a small business for themselves, where they just happen to kill people, turn them into meat, and then sell them. Like they're just small business owners who found a little niche that works for them. You know, it's like
they're literally like turning humans into products.
Yeah, exactly, and it works for them. It's definitely saying a lot about economics and like capitalism as a mechanism, how it works, and human relations and meat. Like it's really objectifies humans, and like there's
yeah.
The images of like meat hooks and stuff. Like the part where the girl is stuck up on a meat hook, like that's one of the like most gruesome killings I've ever seen in the film.
Like,
yeah.
There's no blood in this film.
Yeah, there's very little blood.
There's
real blood though. Like you know the point where way at the end when they cut what's her name, the main girl's hand. Sally, yeah, to feed Grandpa.
Oh,
that's
God.
That's real. That's actually real because they ran out of fake blood, and so they had to cut her actual hand.
Apparently, the shooting in this film was fucking hell. It was awful because they were shooting in the middle of fucking summer. It was fucking roasting, and apparently, and like they had like loads of like fuck ups and stuff like that. And it was like really long, days on set and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I wanted to say when you mentioned the cutting of the hand, it reminded me like the sound design in this film. There's a lot to like we talked about like how in Mandy it's really well shot to like hide the like shittier effects or whatever, and Texas Chainsaw does a similar thing where like even when he's like hacking apart a body with the chainsaw, you never actually see him actually doing it, but your mind kind of fills in the blanks. Even like sticking her up on the hook, it cuts in a way like he like props her up and it cuts as soon as he like puts her down. But the way that the cut works is like you feel like the jolts in her body because how abrupt the cut is, and the sound design is like it all blends together so well to like really make you like your brain fills in the blanks and you think that the film is actually way more violent than it actually is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it really uses illusions. Like it's not an assault really. It's more like it's like almost like erotic in the way it uses camera angles, especially camera movements and stuff. Like it's like it's not really conventional way of shooting a film. Like everything's like really feverish,
really, and it's like it's feverish, but it's also like loose kind of.
Yeah, it just sort of does what it wants. Like the camera just feels like it just puts you in the place of them. It's really perspective based. Even at the end where she runs into the Cannibals' house by accident, like there's loads of like wide angle lenses and like extreme highs and lows, and like there's like a mad close up on her eyes.
It makes it seem like a madhouse.
Yeah, it's like it's really like it's almost like a dream logic to just the way the camera moves, and you really feel in their place. Like it's not about, you know, cutting people's heads off or like showing the chainsaw. You don't even see the chainsaw go into Franklin in the scene where he's killed. His back is turned, but it's about the illusion and the way the camera and the image manipulates you into sort of dancing around these little things. Like if it's way more immediate and it feels way more authentic than something like Hostel or like an exploitation film.
100%. Like, you feel it's more about the emotions that you feel from like how it's shot and everything, because that's how the characters are feeling, than actually showing you any real violence or anything. Like, as you said, like when she runs into the house, all these really wide camera angles and these really harsh camera angles is a way to like make the house seem like it's a fucking madhouse, which it is. It is a fucking madhouse. But the effect of that is that like you feel the like frenzy that Sally has when she's running, and that shot goes on for fucking ages. She's running for 9 minutes. Like, the film is 80 minutes, and an eighth of the film is just her running, screaming.
Yeah. I like the way it doesn't like it never takes itself seriously. Like it really, or like it does, but like it really straddles the line between comedy and horror at the same time. Like there's like even the way the hitchhiker runs, like the climactic chase where you can tell that he's purposely running in like this really weird, like, exaggerated
toying with her,
and like there's a lot of like pretty funny bits in it. Even the grandpa character like failing to kill her with the sledgehammer, like that's
he's the best stuff there ever was.
Yeah.
He can't even lift up the hammer anymore.
Yeah, he drops it 8 times and gets one blow on her head, and then she runs off because they're squabbling over who gets to finish her off.
But that's like to throw back to like the the deeper meaning of it or whatever. That's like, the inability to like let go of the past and recognize, maybe it's better that like things progress and move on. Maybe we don't have to rely on, the old guy to have to fucking come in and like, be the best killer or whatever. It's this inability of like unable to move on from the past, which is, we're looking at America and we're looking at an American film. It's like a commentary, like, maybe things in the past weren't as good as the way that they were now. Maybe, it is more, humane to kill the fucking animals with the nail gun or whatever the fuck they use. It is, it's brutal. But at the same time, you're still fucking killing an animal, But
yeah, that's the thing. I think the whole thing is they basically win. Like the whole thing is the cannibals are what the future is. Like that's how it works. Even
like with like how Sally escapes and she's sitting there in the back of the truck, and the smile, like the subtitles say like hysterically laughing. It's not that she's crying, she's laughing because she's like, she's escaped, but has she really? Like, is this what the world is now? Like, this is laughing at what the world has become and what it will progress to be even further is, this madhouse that she has just escaped.
Yeah.
But she's escaped the madhouse only to fucking go straight back into the world, which is a larger madhouse, I guess.
Just one big slaughterhouse. I think someone in True Detective said that. There's like a huge significance to the fact that like the kids are kind of like hippies as well. Like they're clearly embodying the sort of 60s, like
the youth,
the dreamers, like the kind of that sort of dream of things being
Come
different.
on, man, we'll get in the van, we'll go out to the fucking house, we'll just chill out, it'll be a good time.
Scooby-Doo shit,
we want to go down to the fucking watering hole and party, man. Like, that's kind of the people who we were dealing with. Like, your man with the fucking glasses and the fuzzy hair looks like that guy from that 70s show.
Yeah. They're really like archetypal, like 60s kids. Even the way they use astrology, like it's like the first 10 minutes in this film, like the cosmos and like cosmology is a huge thing.
Yeah, literally haven't even talked at the start of the film yet, which is like pretty fucking key to the rest of the film as well.
Yeah, so like it starts with like shots of like the moon and the sun and stuff,
and like solar flares and shit like that.
Yeah, solar flares, which I only got that watching it today, which is a really key signpost, and the fact that it's all being done like against the backdrop of the hitchhiker digging up dead bodies and like rearranging them into like this like weird sculpture.
The dead have risen.
Yeah. He's like combining sexuality and death in like this really profane kind of sculpture. And there's like this like newscaster reading out all these horrible things that have happened recently. And then just sort of cuts to the kids driving along in the van, and they're talking about astrology. And
she's like, Saturn is in retrograde. Yeah. Like, the world, no, not even the world, the universe is out of fucking shape. Like, the bad things are happening.
And Saturn as well, the cannibal god, the god who ate his children. It's all in there.
It's all, again, like, it is like this, it's a really dense, like, script as well. Because even, like, when the newscast is like talking about all this shit, he's talking about the oil refineries are on fire. There's cholera epidemics, mass suicides are going on, and there's just violence everywhere. Like, this is what the newscaster's talking about. It's like, it's literally like the end of the world. Plagues are about, fire, brimstone. It's fucking hell out there. Saturn is in retrograde. The dead are being dug up and are being looted, and they're turned into these real fucked up artworks or whatever. And I think like kind of like key, well, not like a key, but like a line that really stood out to me is that the newscaster says like elements outside of the state are what's being blamed for the grave robberies. But like, you know, elements outside of the state is like, these are things outside of our realm of reality that are causing this shit to happen nearly.
Yeah. Plus, even the fact that the cannibals exist off the grid, like they probably don't have like, you know, social security numbers.
They have a generator.
Yeah,
like they don't.
They literally exist outside the state, elements outside the state, and they are actually doing it. You know, like that's the whole thing. But yeah, there's this whole thing about like the age of Aquarius coming to an end, and the killing, like the desecration and the annihilation of that dream that sort of came to an end with the start of the 70s. It's a really dark film in terms of outlook. Even though it's like darkly comic also.
Super fucking bleak. Oh my god. I also don't think that there's really any film, like especially like a horror film, that like captures the feel of wherever it is. Because like when they're in the back of the van, you feel how hot and sweaty and dirty and musty everywhere is. Like there's never a moment where like you feel cold. The entire film feels warm and hot and like this like oppressive feeling throughout the film, if you know what I mean. Like you're never given a chance to breathe really in this film because of how like captures like it's set and stuff like that. Like in some parts it actually does feel like a fucking snuff film. Like it feels like you're watching a film that you're not meant to be watching because of how gritty and dirty it feels. Yeah,
I like the way it's like it's all in broad daylight as well. Basically, pretty much the entire film is brightly lit. Even the way I was reading about the cameras that they used, like you know the way like all the backgrounds are really overexposed. Like it's just white. Like they don't really like it's like a Texas summer like sun, and it's like you feel the heat, but at the same time the background is just like this blank white. It's almost like they're like living in this sort of extra dimensional space where they're colliding with these you know, these forces, these elements outside the state, you know, because you feel really alone out there as well. Like they're really isolated.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah, you really recognize like no one is coming to help them. They are fucked. Like they are by themselves. Even like the way that the film like plays out, like one guy walks in the house and he goes missing, and the girl goes into after him and she goes missing, and then the third guy goes off trying to find them and then he goes missing. Like it's repetitious like that. Like it keeps happening. It's like they're stuck in a loop and this is always gonna fucking happen to them.
Exactly, yeah. Which like ties into the end as well. The famous last scene, you know?
Yeah, the iconic like dancing with the chainsaw.
Yeah, the way he's just like swirling it around and swinging it up into the air. Like why is he doing that? I don't know. He's like, you know, he's lashing out, but like there's a whole like double meaning of, you know, he will never die. This is not the end. This is gonna happen again. You know, like
spiral.
You know, ashes to ashes, all that bollocks. Yeah, the spiral. Yeah, especially the spiral is key. You know, like that sort of cyclical time.
Yeah, cyclical time. Yeah.
Which sort of ties back into the whole
astrology
thing, because the whole the motif of the moon and the sun sort of comes back into it at the end as well. There's like a really circular full moon that shows up just when I think he's leaving the gas station with Sally. So there's like, it's really like the film's like really caught up in much bigger kind of ideas than you ever expect for like a slasher film. In terms of like cosmological stuff and even political stuff.
Yeah, I almost like nearly compare it to like how Halloween does the whole like this is destiny and fate or whatever, but Texas Chainsaw puts it in this like astrological, like the universe and reality itself are like causing this to happen, as opposed to being like, oh, it's your fate or destiny that's caused this to happen or whatever. And like that kind of ties into, the cyclical nature of it being, how many economic recessions has there been since the 70s?
Yeah.
This keeps fucking happening.
It's like a chainsaw going round and around and around.
It keeps coming around. Like, oh, we're at the top, and now we're back down again.
Yeah.
Like every 10 or 20 years, like, you have a fucking recession.
Yeah. Plus,
and the
like,
cause of that,
you always have like people predicting, oh, this is the end. Things are going to change, but like it just keeps going. It just keeps going. Something about that.
I like as well that like Franklin. He's like, I think like Franklin is the most like sympathetic character. Like I think it's really strange the way that Sally is actually is our like last girl, because she like barely fucking talks, and then all of a sudden that she's the last one that survives. But like how like Franklin, he nearly admires in a way the hitchhiker. Like he recognizes, he's like, so like the hitchhiker when they pick him up or whatever, like the two of them are talking about like, the slaughterhouses, and Franklin's really interested in the slaughterhouse, whereas the rest of them are like, oh, Franklin, will you shut the fuck up, like don't want to be hearing about that. But like he makes a really good line where he's just like, you don't care where it comes from, like you don't care where it comes from, like as long as you're eating it, and it is that like, that ethical consumption under capitalism, like this is the shit that you're eating. This is where it comes from. You just don't want to face the fact that that's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point.
And but Franklin, he knows, he's like, yeah, this is what we eat. And then the hitchhiker cuts himself, whatever. And Franklin afterwards, he's like looking at his blade, and he's like, God, it really must take something to do that to yourself. Like imagine trying to do that to yourself, like slicing your hand open. Like what does it take in a person to do that? And there's this weird tie to Franklin and the hitchhiker, which is when the hitchhiker is thrown out of the van, he's like blowing raspberries, like he's going like chasing them like that. But when Franklin's pissed off, like literally the hitchhiker is left behind by them, right? And Franklin is left behind by them when they get to the house because he's not able to go up the stairs because he's in a wheelchair. And he starts blowing raspberries at them. So it's like this tie between Franklin and, the hitchhiker. Whereas like, this could be any of us. This evil, this horror, that like this cannibalism that the Sawyer family are part of is in all of us. And it is a potential that like it will eventually emerge out of you should things go to shit like it has for the Sawyer family.
Yeah. It's just like part of how, this whole kind of thing operates. I like how the film is, like, the way most horror films is like kind of, it plays up to like a psychoanalytical kind of reading, where it's like, oh, this is symbolic of, personal trauma.
Freudian.
Yeah, this is Freud. It's all about like what's inside your head. Whereas this film is like way more amenable to like a social reading, where it's about like relationships and like systems and stuff, and like broader forces out there. It's like almost like a cosmic kind of thing. It's a cosmic vibe to it. And yeah, there's like that. Yeah, that whole tie between Franklin and the hitchhikers is Franklin knows something. Even the way he's on about the sign, like the way the hitchhiker like he like daubs his blood on the van as they're pulling away.
Yeah, he knows. It's like,
yeah.
You don't think he'd follow us, do you? Like he knows that something wrong is happening. He can feel it in the fucking atmosphere. You can feel it in the fucking astrology.
Yeah. He's the only one who's ever been out of the kids that's ever been in the slaughterhouse. And like what they do in the slaughterhouse is like they daub the animals, like they like mark them to the ones that are ought to be killed. And
oh my God,
he's like, this isn't right.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking marking. It's like,
these ones right here.
Yeah.
And Franklin's like, shouldn't we be like worried about this? And they're like, shut the fuck up, Franklin. And they all go into the watering hole.
It's time to party, Franklin.
Yeah, they all go off partying like.
But like Franklin's also the only one that like when they get to the house, he realizes that like like besides all that shit, he's like, there's something wrong here. Like there's something, I don't know what it is. It might be the skulls on the ground,
yeah.
or like this fucking weird like wind chime that's made out of human bones. I don't know what it is, but there's something amiss here.
Yeah, something weird is afoot. Yeah, the poor guy. I felt really bad for Franklin.
Yeah, especially at the very start as well. Even the start where like Franklin's gone off to take a piss or whatever, and he's literally
he rolls down the hill.
He rolls down the hill, but like he's falling down. Like you know, he's the character that we sympathize with, and immediately he's falling down. Like he is, you know, he's all of us. You know, there's a potential in all of us to do what the Sawyer family do, similar to Franklin, but also, you know, he is literally falling down, like all of us.
Yeah, into like a pot of his own piss as well.
Yeah, I know, he's pissed it all the way down. He lands at the bottom. They're all such assholes as well. Like the dude with the blonde hair, or whatever the fuck, like the like main
boy.
The kind of main boy.
Yeah.
It's like the one that's wearing the double denim.
Yeah, Kirk or something, is it?
Yeah, Kirk. Yeah, that's his name. He's a fucking asshole. He's like, oh, how did they bring, like when he's gone down to the watering hole or whatever, the girl that's with them is just like, oh, how did they bring Franklin down here when he was small? And he's like, Franklin was never small. It's like, shut up, you asshole.
Leave Franklin out of this. Yeah, he really gets fucked over. Like, he's warning them the entire film. He's even warning Sally not to go off into the darkness when all her friends are missing.
Stay here, you fucking moron.
And he just gets a chainsaw to the fucking sternum in you know, in return. It's like, God bless.
God bless you.
You know?
Poor fella. Yeah, and then like to like pull us kind of back to the dynamic of the Sawyer family. You know, they're like an inversion of the nuclear family, as we said, but like there's no mother figure, there's no female figure in this family, and so Leatherface has to don that role or whatever. Actually, sorry, even the fact that like Leatherface wears a mask, like he's wearing a mask to like seem more human than whatever the fuck is going on underneath the mask. And it's, you know, the mask that society wears, do we all wear?
We all have a mask, man.
Even the fact that it's made of human skin, you know, it's like trying to replicate something human, something civilized, something normal or whatever. But that's not true. He's a fucking serial killer. He's a cannibal. He's a fucking murderer.
Yeah,
like that.
he's capital embodied, you know. Wears the human skin, lures you in, chops you up, sells you on.
He has to don the role of the female within his family because there is no mother figure. And it's this like inversion of American values. Without a man and a woman, a family fails. Without a reproducer in the family, so, you know, the child bearer, a family will never succeed. It's specifically reflecting you know, 60s and 70s fears, societal fears, which you see in the film. True that. I think as well, like I've heard mentioned before about like how Ed Gein really influenced the way that like trans people are represented in horror. Because Ed Gein being this realization that like shit, not everything is okay in America. Like even in middle America, you know, we thought that this was only something that like, you know, murders and shit that only happens in the cities. But Ed Gein's this realization that like, no, this shit goes on everywhere in America. Leatherface is that as well. Society being afraid of anything that's not straight reproducing couples.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This film sort of has a problem with women as well. But like that's
my God, does
very much a. It sort of has a problem with humans in general, but women specifically, in terms of the violence, is pretty horrific, and they're just like completely helpless. Like that's the famous sort of shot where she's running out of I think it's Kim is her name, where when they first stumble upon
she tries to run away and he just grabs her,
he just
and
picks her up.
in.
It's like, oh shit, this guy is fucking heavy, you know. But she's completely.
This dude is fucking big.
Yeah, this guy is big. Like she's completely helpless though. She can't do anything about it. You know, there's no recourse for like fighting back. You know.
No.
It's very hopeless. But that's it does sort of fit in more with the cosmological theme, but it is a bit out there,
Yeah, and
It's
it,
a bit
and it
excessive.
also works because it's like you're by yourself. You're kind of fucking helpless against any societal things that are going on. Um, but if a truck driver stops, you might be able to get fucking some help. Like that dude, that dude's the real hero of this film. That fella,
Man, that guy's retarded. Why didn't he just drive away? They both got
no,
into
he
the
fucking
cab.
stops. He fucking
Yeah,
pings Leatherface in the fucking head with the wrench.
yeah. But you see the shot before that, he's way too close. I would have been like, I would just kept
Oh,
running.
man.
Way too close.
I don't, but like it's just staying in the cab as well. Leatherface
Yeah.
kind of is just trying to like kind of open the door.
Yeah.
Kind of, he's kind of just like scraping the door with
He
his
was just like,
chainsaw.
he was just like marking his initials on the door. They're both in the cab. Like, there's nothing
Should've
wrong
just
with the truck. Just hit
floored
floor it. But they both get out and start running around. I don't know. They should have just drove off. But like that's beside the point because you wouldn't get that scene with the chainsaw flinging around.
Chainsaw and her screaming, laughing
Exactly.
in the
Yeah.
back
Uh-huh.
of the cab. But it is, I think, like you are helpless in it against this like cosmological and like societal problems. You are in of yourself alone. You're helpless. But as well, like again, like Mandy, there's no like which is weird, but there's no like no, sorry, it's not weird that there's no, but like it's weird in a film that came out in this era that there's no like threat of like sexual violence as well. Like the dudes, like, because she's stuck in a room with 4 dudes and she's tied up and she's like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything.
Yeah,
and they're just
yeah.
like, they're just taking the piss out of her. They're just like, you think we don't want to do anything. We just want to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even the way Cook, like the dad figure, he's like, oh, like there's no need for this. Like, don't torture her, just kill her. And
Yeah, just get it over
he's
with.
like sort of consoling her before they bring her over to get her head bashed in by the grandpa. Like the whole thing, like I think it sort of plays into like the market logic of the family as a whole. They only kill people maybe out of like a bit of like transgressive satisfaction, but all like mainly just to sell it on as meat. They're just trying to get by, basically doing what the only thing they know how to do, and it's not.
Yeah, they got no gas,
yeah.
so you gotta sell meat.
It's not necessarily about killing people or like making them suffer, as the dad basically says.
Yeah, it's fucked.
You know,
It's fucked.
It is.
It is a bleak film as well. It doesn't end on a positive note. It ends like, it ends by telling us this is going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And it's going to go on forever and ever.
Yeah, basically says you are in this film and it's never going to end. He keeps swinging that fucking chainsaw. I've never seen the sequels, but we'll have to have a look into that.
Might have to have a look.
I think we
you
will.
know, I'm pretty sure they're all fucking awful.
I know Matthew McConaughey is in one of them.
Yeah, he is. He plays the hitchhiker.
Oh, really?
Or like but he's actually named. He plays the brother.
Oh.
Well, actually, I guess he doesn't play the brother because the brother or like the hitchhiker
Gets creamed.
That dude ain't doing too good at the end of this film.
Yeah, he's not doing too good either.
There ain't no sequel with him in it.
Oh,
Oh, he gets fucking creamed.
yeah. Poor guy.
But he kind of deserved it.
Yeah, he wasn't great, to be fair.
But I like as well that like Leatherface himself, not so much his family as a whole, but like Leatherface himself is a kind of like sympathetic character. Like I feel bad for him when his dad comes in. He's like, "What are you doing? Get into the kitchen!" He's
Yeah.
smacking him with the fucking stick, and he's like cowering. And he's
Yeah.
like,
That
and
part
he
was
just- he
that
doesn't
part was
talk either.
hilarious, though. It's like
It's
he's
hilarious,
like-
but it's also kind of sad.
he's like he's no damn respect for his home because he like fucked up the door. I remember
"Look
when
what you did to the door!"
Yeah. I was just thinking when he's doing that to the door, I was like, Jesus, like doesn't he live here? And then it just comes back. It's like,
Your dad's gonna fucking snap.
yeah. It's like such a great parody of like an inversal of like the typical American family. But yeah, he's like you do sort of feel bad for him because he's like impaired or whatever. Like that's the whole thing with him.
Yeah, and he's like, where are the kids or whatever? He's like, oh, he's like slamming on the fridge or whatever. He's like, they're all there. I got them all. I was like, you didn't leave any of them. He's just like, no, I got them all. Like it's so weird in that scene because Leatherface before that scene is this literally the dude that like picked up a girl and fucked her on top of a hook and
Yeah.
chainsaw the dudes and like everything. Like he's a brutal fucking force of nature, but as soon as his dad comes home, he's fucking terrified, and he's cowering from his dad. He's scared. Even like he's like the one that gets the piss taken out of the most, because the hitchhiker is just like, come on. He like Leatherface is weird as well, because I didn't think that Leatherface was actually I thought he was just kind of nicknamed that. I didn't think Leatherface was actually his name. Like the hitchhiker's like, come on, Leatherface, we gotta get the grandpa down or whatever.
Yeah, they don't have names. Yeah.
But yeah, like even like his brother's like taking the piss out and stuff like that. Like he's the one that takes care of them. He's the one that got the fucking food and prepared or whatever. But he's the one that gets the piss taken out of him.
Yeah.
Which might be a commentary on the fact that, like, you know, he plays the woman's role and how women are treated fairly.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely that.
Yeah.
God, there's so much to talk about in this film.
This is an amazing film. It's like
it is amazing.
There's a lot to it. I remember when I first watched it, I thought it was shite.
Same, I fucking hated
I think we
it
watched
when I
it
first
together
watched
in Arkle all the time. And like just sort of
Oh yeah.
Just sort of
I forgot
faded
about
away.
that.
I was like, this is shite. But we're watching on this tiny TV screen. And like
I forgot that we watched this film
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
because it was only on the second go, I was like, wow.
In which case, then it was my third go, because I don't even remember watching it then. I remember watching it when I was in Spain sometime. I don't know when, but I watched it in Spain. I was like, this is fucking shit. And it's only earlier this year that I went back to it to rewatch it, and then we had those cans in the park and we talked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Day.
And you know, from that we started the fucking podcast.
Yeah, this is also the origin story of the podcast.
Yeah, this film, like, again, cyclical nature. This film keeps coming back into our conversation.
Yeah.
It's the one that like inspired us kind of to make the podcast.
Yeah, there's definitely more to it than you'd ever expect.
Yeah,
Like
way
everyone
more,
knows
yeah.
about it. I think a lot of people have seen it anyway. But like it's there's a lot more to it.
There's a lot. There's a lot of readings, and I think
it's a mouthful. You might say. Sorry, guys.
something to chew on.
Yeah. Really chewing the scenery in this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking love this film. I really do. I love this film. I love talking about this film, and it's so short, 80 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking-
Like what we were saying.
How does it do this? How does it fit all this shit in 80 minutes?
Yeah, it's like if this can do it in 80 minutes, there's no excuse for your fucking 2-hour, 45-minute Harry Potter Chamber Secrets, you know? Like, forget about it. Just condense it into 80 minutes or whatever.
But yeah, 80 minutes. There's no fat
cut
on this
to the
piece of
chase.
meat.
Yeah, there's no fat here. This guy's a quality butcher.
I'm going to go pee and all, and then do you want to go on to listener questions?
Listener questions? Yes. Shout. Yeah, so if you want to ask us a question, feedback, whatever, you can get to us at paro_pod on Insta or on Twitter, or you can email us at theparopod@gmail.com.
Oh yeah, we're gonna kind of split it up kind of this week. We're gonna do hot takes, or like not even hot takes, like you the listeners. Some of you sent in your unpopular film opinions, and we're gonna react to them. Some of these aren't specifically related to film, just like, you know, the film industry or the medium of film. But yeah, and then we'll go on to the questions afterwards. But the first hot take or unpopular opinion comes in from Liam. Of course, my phone locks as soon as I'm about to read it. Liam says, there are no good male film YouTubers, just white dudes yelling about kids' films. As a subscriber to 3 white male film YouTubers, I have to fucking agree with it. Jesus Christ. Like,
Chris Duckman.
man.
Scene to bits. Scene.
Hey, well, I remember me and Liam were talking about this a while ago, and I agree with Liam. Like Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman and Your Movie Sucks. Like the three of them, they're the 3 that I'm subscribed to. Jeremy Johns is like the first YouTuber I got into, and I can't understand how, because I disagree on his opinions of films all the time. But I still like to just watch him, because he just kind of likes everything. Kind of, he's
like Chris Stuckman. Aren't they the same basically?
They're basically the same. But I remember seeing a YouTube comment before, and it was I watched Jeremy Johns for film suggestions for my friends, but I watched Chris Stuckman for my film suggestions. And I looked at it, and I was like, Chris Stuckman doesn't even talk about like obscure weird films. You fucking moron.
Yeah. It's just Marvel films, isn't it? Really, like superhero stuff.
Or like your movie sucks is this. Like your movie sucks. You know, he talks about like Kaufman and shit like that. It's like,
Yeah.
like slightly more obscure shit.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of them, but then I stopped. I can't remember why.
I stopped and then I got really into film.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I'm not into film YouTube at the moment, but
I feel you.
what I know, like how big are those guys now? Like, what's their subscriber base like?
Oh, a million. I'm
Oh,
pretty
really?
sure they all have over 1 million.
Oh, really? Jesus.
But like they're nowhere near as like I think fucking Nicolas Fears.
Nick's Fears, yeah.
Nick's Fears.
Actually, yeah,
Fucking-
that's an obvious example. Actually, yeah.
Oh my god, she is so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really, really good. She has a lot of great takes. She's one of the only people, no, the first person I ever came across that could decipher what was going on in Beyond the Black Rainbow. And I was like, it just blew my mind. I was like, wow. That's
Yeah, like her hot
so-
take on Hereditary was just like watched it. I was like, that's like such a unique way of reading a film that I've never ever heard someone reading a film like that before, and it makes complete fucking sense.
Yeah.
I got really into Deep Focus Lens is her name. She more like reviews films, like just a random film or whatever. But like, again, she's got like she understands like the kind of like philosophy, I guess. Like if she's talking about like a Gaspar Noé film, she's talking about Sartre or some fucking shit like that. Like she'll talk about like the philosopher that's like being dealt with in the film. And I really like her for that as well.
What's her name?
Deep Focus Lens.
Right.
Who else am I subscribed to from? H Bomber Guy. Well, H Bomber Guy is good when he does like something on films. Like his video on director's cuts is really really good. Then who else do I got? Jenny Nicholson. She's really good when she does stuff. But oh yeah, no. H Bomber Guy had a really good video about like the merit of like videos and how like watching like old horror films on videos is like kind of like the more not like authentic way, but it can be the more scary way because the video quality can be so shit that it like hides things in the film, so it can be like your mind kind of plays tricks on you.
Yeah.
He's got good videos on films, but yeah, I do agree with Liam. Like a lot of them are just like, can you just not talk about Marvel? Like
It's what gets all the views.
it is what gets all the views, and a lot of them are like they are like comic book nerds that became YouTubers basically, or like just like nerds that like got into YouTube and they got fucking huge because of it. So of course they are gonna. It's not like, and there's nothing wrong with liking that type of shit, but it gets kind of fucking boring when on the same day 3 YouTubers all release their Spider-Man Far From Home video, and all 3 of them have the exact same fucking opinion on it.
Yeah, they're all quite similar. They all say a lot of things that are basically the same. Need to wise up.
Wise up. Get woke.
Get
Look at
woke,
other
bro.
shit.
Yeah, we need to start a
Look at other
YouTube
shit.
channel. That's what the world needs.
The world does not need a Parapod YouTube. Well, we already have a YouTube channel, but actually doing YouTube shit.
That'd be great. Nicolas Cage is the best actor of all time. What do you think?
I'm thinking he can be. I don't think he is all the time, but I think like you look at like Mandy and what other film? I can't think of any Nick Cage films. Oh, Color Out of
Colour Out of
Space.
Space, yeah.
Like films like that, he's fucking perfect at that. Like he is the best actor in the world at playing a crazy person.
Yeah, because he is fucking crazy. I think he's like, I like the way he's like no pretensions about it. Like he doesn't go for the Oscar stuff. Like
He'll do
because he's
whatever.
like, because he has like massive gambling debts or whatever. But at the same time, he's like not pretentious about it. He's not like He's not like, Daniel Day-Lewis, great actor, but like
Daniel Day-Lewis is so fucking pretentious.
He's an actor. He's like, acting is like this noble pursuit. And
he's in Lincoln.
Yeah. It's like, he's like
Nicolas Cage would never do Lincoln.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, imagine. Well, that would be very interesting.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. But it's like, the whole thing is like, look how well he pretends to be someone else.
Yeah.
Or like, look how good he is doing that. It's like, that's great. But like, Nicolas Cage like seems more versatile and more authentic, and he really wants to be.
He'll do anything. Fucking anything. Like,
yeah.
But like, he's also. He's also in the Wicker Man remake.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in, like, he is in films where he is absolutely fucking terrible. Like, have you ever seen... One of the worst films I've ever seen is Left Behind. Have you ever seen that film?
No, I've heard about it, though.
Fucking dog shit. But the only reason why he did it was because his daughter's really religious, apparently. Or his brother is a pastor or something. Can't remember what it is. He did it for like no, his brother is a priest, I think, and his brother asked him to do it. I think that's what it is. But yeah, he's fucking awful in that film. Like, he's genuinely shit. But then he can also be really fucking good.
Yeah, he has a kind of like psychotic, like doesn't give a shit what's happening, like sort of rich kid thing. Like even what like Panos Cosmatos does with like his films, like the way, like maybe he wouldn't have made such like crazy films if his dad wasn't already director or a successful director.
Yeah.
Like Nicolas Cage comes from a film family. He didn't have to go into acting, but he did, and like he basically has the luxury of choosing to do whatever he wants in whatever way he wants as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. It's like that. Did you watch Community?
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
Did you ever see the episode where like Abed loses his mind because he's trying to figure out if Nick Cage is a good actor or not?
No.
It's so funny. It's just like his film teacher's like, just don't do it. Don't try and think about it. Just kind of like accept it. And it's like, no, there has to be an answer. There has to be a definitive answer as to whether or not someone is a good actor or not. And Nicolas Cage is like this enigma where he's amazing, but he's also fucking terrible.
Yeah. It is an enigma. That's really sums it up.
He would be up there. I would agree with Isabel. He is one of the best actors when he wants to be.
Yeah, when he's arsed, which is sort of more admirable than like a hired gun. It does the same thing again and again, Oscar actors.
Nicolas Cage. And he's a cool dude as well.
A true icon.
Alright, this next hot take is coming in from Lauren. Shout out to Lauren. I think she's a new enough listener to the podcast. She's saying Iron Man deserved to die. Annoying bastard. I think, the entire franchise should have just ended after Infinity War.
After Iron Man 1, just end the franchise.
Infinity War, and half of them are dead. It's like, fuck you. You don't get what you want. You're dead.
That would have been just unprecedented. That would have been like really admirable. Of course, we're going to do that. But Iron Man,
eating money.
Iron Man is also an enigma. Iron Man 1, one of my favorite comic book films, honestly.
Oh, Iron Man 1
great
is
film.
Fucking amazing. That film's so good.
And he's great in it, Tony Stark. But then you get Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, whatever other Avengers there are. And he's just an annoying, cocky cunt in all of those films.
And he fucks up all the time.
Yeah, and he's not even that funny. Like the jokes are kind of gone. He's just like a fuck up. Not even like in an interesting or like it builds on his character. He's like this billionaire who got lucky and he's cocky about it. But he's also still has like character flaws. Like, who cares?
His character flaws is that he's a fucking moron, but still everyone follows him.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Iron Man, he's great.
Yeah, Iron Man 1 is great. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Iron Man, he was the most annoying character by a mile. Maybe they could have killed Hawkeye as well. Maybe.
Is Hawkeye not dead? No.
I haven't seen any of the Avenger movies after Ultron, so
Same.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Hawkeye, what a fucking joke of a character. Quicksilver as well. At least they killed him off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too informed on it, so I must not speak.
Yeah, I agree though. I agree with Lauren's take.
I also agree.
Do you want to take Emily's one there?
Emily's hot take is, or no, unpopular opinion. The Lion King is pretty boring, DBH. Yeah.
Now, if we're talking about the remake.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just Hamlet. You know, it's just Hamlet. We've all heard that story.
I mean, I like The Lion King, but you know, a lot of people don't. My mom doesn't like it. Actually, none of my family really like it. I like it though. It's it's Hamlet.
It's just Hamlet, sticking to the basics.
But I can understand why it is like boring, because it is kind of boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it in so long. So.
At the start of it, it's just like, look, Simba, everything, the circle of life, just explaining that motif over and over again for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, have a whole song for it.
Yeah, I enjoy The Lion King though. I don't know where I would rank it on like a Disney list, but it would be pretty high up, I think. I think off the top of my head, can't really think, but I think it would be pretty high up. I enjoyed The Lion King a lot. This is an unpopular opinion that I don't agree with entirely, Emily.
Ooh,
way to go, Emily!
Beef.
You gave such an unpopular opinion that half of this podcast don't agree with you.
Yeah, we just say to like everything that comes up.
It's just like Parapod is the best podcast ever. Absolutely not.
No, you got it all wrong, pal.
All wrong, pal. There's
Not a hope.
There's My Morning Coffee. There's way better podcasts. Come on. And then, right, this is the one that I think we're going to go on for a while. And it's Rachel's unpopular opinion.
Oh.
And her unpopular opinion is movies shouldn't be 2 hours long. It seems so excessive. Now,
I can just imagine her saying that. I can hear her
I
saying
can hear Rachel saying this. I can hear it. I think 2 hours is like the kind of like limit in a lot of cases. Like 2 hours is a sweet spot. No, sorry, an hour and a half is a sweet spot. But I'll push for 2 hours. Like with Mandy, I didn't feel the first hour, which is like when you watch a film and you don't notice the length. That means that film was like whatever length it was perfect because it did its job perfectly. But when you feel that length and you feel that extra half hour and you're just sitting there, you're like,
you really feel it.
Oh God, you feel it.
Yeah, no, especially in this age that we live in, you know, shorter attention spans. You have TikTok, you got Vine, you got YouTube videos and stuff.
But films are getting longer.
Yeah, somehow they're getting longer. I don't really understand what that is all about. But yeah, I think an hour and a half. If you can't tell your story in like an hour and a half or 2 hours, like around that sort of length.
Like that is so much time.
It's
what
just
a fucking epic odyssey are you telling that can't be told in 2 hours?
Like you have the Harry Potter films, which are obviously just egregiously long. Like they should not be. None of them should be 2 hours long.
No.
Or The Hobbit, but at the same time you have like maybe like the counter argument is other like, you know, Harry Potter's a year. It's supposed to represent a year each film, and The Hobbit is
fucking feels like a year.
Yeah, watching it, yeah. And The Hobbit is like this grand journey, so you're supposed to sort of be part of the journey. But like this, it applies to every film that's made these days. Every big film, big blockbuster. Yeah. They're all 2.5 hours long. Why? I don't get it.
Yeah, like I think like if it suits the film, like Inception is 2.5 hours long. Like most Christopher Nolan films are 2.5 hours long. And a lot of them don't feel like that. Tenet feels like that, but you know, leave Tenet aside. Like, actually, probably The Dark Knight. You definitely feel the length of The Dark Knight. Dark Knight's only 3 hours long. It seems Dark Knight Rises. Like those, that's excessive. Because there's definitely shit you can cut out, or you can shorten down at very least. But like when we talk about films like Deer Hunter's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But like part of the experience is the length. Like when that happens, when you watch a film and like the point is that it's really long. Like The Irishman is like the kind of case with that. The Irishman's like 3.5 hours long. And it is stupidly long. It does not need to be that long. But like it's also, you know, Martin Scorsese being, like, however old he is, making a gangster movie, bringing the boys back, doing basically Goodfellas Part 2. you know, kind of the point is that it's super fucking long and it is excessive and it's meant to be that, but also bit of a wanker for making a film that long.
Yeah, it's just like, there's just no reason. 3-hour films, unless you're making a statement.
Like, I can get behind Lord of the Rings being that long.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Last Lord of the Rings film is like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something.
I know,
ridiculous.
yeah. It's like, why?
Yeah, it's like the end is half an hour long.
The ending, yeah.
That's too long. Like, that's where you like cut this. Peter Jackson cut this down, but they're all books and they're all like big odysseys where you go somewhere and there's really long battles in them and stuff like that.
The books aren't even that long though.
No, the books are like kids' books.
Yeah, the books are like 200 pages. The Hobbit was the worst example. That was when we knew we went over the edge. We jumped the shark.
That's the moment.
3 films that are all 2.5 hours long, based on a book that's 200 pages.
That's literally a kid's book.
A kid's book. Not much happens in the book, and they stretch into 3 films. I don't know why. Well, just why, you know?
Yeah, why?
I definitely agree with Rachel on this one.
I agree. But I also think it kind of depends on the film.
It definitely depends, but unless you're making a statement and the film has to be longer, like the film is like an epic. Unless it's an epic film, just get to an hour and a half, 2 hours, and can it, and just leave it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like that thing, like, if you're like, you know, when you're making, like, creating something, you're always going to be adding to it. Like, there has to be a point where you say, this is it, this is finished. Like, I'm not going to improve this anymore. For films, I think that boundary is at about the 2 hour mark. And after that, it's like, you have to sort of consider what you're doing.
Yeah.
Reconsider your choices in life.
Like, Inception pulls it off because it does have, like, loads of, like, really cool, intense action scenes. But a lot of films that are, like, 2.5 hours long, a lot of them are really fucking slow dramas that don't do anything.
Dramas. Yeah.
Like, a 3 hour long drama is actually a fucking war crime.
You should be brought up in The Hague for that.
You fucking should. Like, at least a Deer Hunter has an amazing middle that is, like, really fucking intense and keeps you awake. But, like, the way that it bookends it, the 2 bits on either side are fucking boring.
Yeah. But, like, that's like, yeah, it's like that's like the holistic message. Whereas most of these films that are too long, there's no reason for them to be like
and
that.
There's no structure for why they'd be that long.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's all a bit excessive. It's all a bit much.
Bit wankery.
It's a bit of wankery. That's the truth. That's the truth right there. It's a bit of masturbation. There's definitely some kind of thing where, like, Hollywood producers want their films to be a certain length. I don't know why, but there's definitely something in there about that.
Oh, because they're like, films, they used to be this long or some shit. Oh, like, I think the worst example ever is Hateful Eight.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Hateful Eight isn't good, and it's never good in the entire 2.5 hours. I think it actually could be longer than that. Could be 3.
It's 3, yeah.
There's an extended cut of it on fucking American Netflix where it's a mini series of 4 episodes that are all an hour long. Now, Tarantino, you originally intended this to be a play. How fucking dare you make a play that's 4 hours long? Your dialogue isn't that good.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like the perfect example of a film that's just style over substance. There's no message there's no reason for that film to be 3 hours long. There's no reason for it to be shot on film. There's no reason for it to be a film in the first place. It was intended to be a play, you know? It's like Tarantino's just high on his own farts, you know? His famous farts, you know?
Yeah. And Hateful Eight is the moment. Hateful Eight is the moment where it's like, Tarantino is not the genius that 16-year-old me thought he was.
He's not the indie genius, you know, the indie Jesus, more like, you know, that we all thought he was.
Although I did like, you know, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was a weird film, but again, that didn't have to be fucking 2 hours and 45 minutes. The problem as well is that, like, when the film is that long, its length is like a consideration. The length is a barrier for me to watch the film because I don't want to watch a 2.5 hour long film every fucking day. Give me a 90-minute yoke.
Exactly, yeah. What happened to films that were an hour long, you know? Like, what's wrong with that? You know? Maybe you charge a bit less at the concession stand or whatever. But, like, in the days of streaming, like, there's no reason any Netflix original film has to be 2 hours long or 2.5 hours long. Or like with The Irishman, 3.5 hours long, you know? You can just make that an hour. Obviously not with The Irishman, but like the limitations are gone in terms of what people will pay to see in cinemas. Cinemas don't count anymore. They're irrelevant.
Maybe the reason why they have to be like so fucking long as well is that like the idea is more bang for your buck when you go to the fucking cinema. Like I went to the cinema and I didn't sit there for 90 minutes. I sat there for fucking 2.5 hours experiencing this movie or whatever. So
Yeah.
like, it was more worth my while to go to the cinema to see that.
Actually, yeah, that actually definitely is it. Yeah.
It's like the experience of going to the cinema.
Yeah, I wasted more of my life so I can justify spending more money. You know.
Yeah. Like, I've an hour less of my life on a film that I didn't fucking like.
Yeah, and I'm even poorer than before. It's like, what's the positives? What are the
Man,
positives? here?
imagine if like films, like if you went to the cinema, you paid less for like a 90-minute long film or something like that than a 2-hour long one. That would drastically change like cinema and like cinemas as a whole. It's like every
Yeah.
film is 90 minutes now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or if you're making more per ticket, the longer the film is, every film will just be Tarantino, Nolan, fucking Fincher, 5-hour epic that you have to see, you know, and you pay fucking 30 quid to see it.
Yeah. Although I have to say, like most of those like films that are like over 2 hours long, they are coming from like established film directors. Like they're coming from your Christopher Nolans, your Tarantinos, your Scorseses. Like they're coming from.
You know what you're getting, yeah.
Like you kind of know. So I guess it's kind of justified in a way that way, but also
It's justified
fuck
in the
me.
same way the fucking Leatherface justifies cutting up people and selling them on at the petrol station, you know?
Yeah,
It's
if we talked for an hour over a fucking 80-minute long film. There's no way I could talk for an hour about Tenet.
Yeah, it's very true, yeah. Yeah, they could have squeezed that into so much less.
Like if Texas, as we said earlier, if Texas Chainsaw can get so much out of its 80 minutes, there's no excuse for any other film fucking that up.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the model. Keep it lean.
I agree, though. Like I think the two of us are in agreement.
We're in agreement again.
Yeah, a lot of these unpopular opinions, I agree with.
Absolutely.
I agree with, especially like I remember my mom's friend's husband. They were over for Christmas last year, and we all sat down. And we watched The Irishman, and afterwards he was like, "I think that like if your film is 3 hours long, it is a failure in regards to storytelling." and I sat there and I was like, I mean, I disagree, but I also kind of do agree.
That's harsh. Thank God Scorsese wasn't in the room. A failure. Yeah, it's very true though. Very true in my opinion.
The Irishman did not need to be that long.
It is a
just
failure.
Didn't need to be that long.
It's excessive. The next hot take, Neil Riley's telling us that Ford v Ferrari is shite. I've never seen Ford v Ferrari, but have you?
I haven't, but I can nearly guarantee you that he's right.
I'd say it's the one with Christian Bale and
Matt Damon, I think.
Matt Damon. Yeah, it's one of
It's
one
the
of those,
race car movie.
Yeah, it's called like Le Mans 24 here or something like that.
Or Le Mans 64, I think it's called.
Yeah, one of them.
How am I? Just coming off that last question, how long do you think this film is going to be?
It's 100. No, it's 126 minutes. Le Mans.
It's
66.
153. It's 2.5 hours long. Right.
What?
Guarantee you, Ford versus Ferrari does not utilize the 2.5 hours long. There's no reason a film like that needs to be that long. No fucking way.
It cost 100 mil to make, and it made 230 mil. What the fuck? I saw a few ads for it, but I didn't know it was actually popular.
Neil's the first person that I know that's seen that fucking film.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
same.
didn't know
yeah.
anyone went to see that film.
Yeah, I didn't even think about going to that. Yeah, it looks like one of those Oscar films, you know?
It's an Oscar film, so kind of guaranteed that it's not going to be very interesting, or it's not going to have.
It's going to be shite.
It's going to be fucking shit. Like, my mom didn't even want to see that film. My mom loves, like, those kind of films, like those Oscar kind of films. She didn't want to fucking see that, though. She's like, no.
Fuck that. About racing. We already had what was that? The other racing film with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, Rush.
Rush.
I've heard that's really good as well. It's got
I've heard
Daniel
that's really
Brühl in it.
Yeah, he's amazing. Or Drive. If you want a racing film, watch Drive, you know.
Drive is great. Great. Then we got the next question coming in from Neil Wall this time. That's why there's a bit of confusion over the Neils.
Who?
Neil Wall, you know, the guy from fucking Gummo.
That's a made-up name. Yeah, the guy from Gummo. Oh, the king.
Neil is saying Bridge to Terabithia is the worst movie of all time.
Wrong.
Man, I hated that film when I was younger.
No, I thought that film was great.
I hated it.
How? Why? I don't understand what the hate
hated
is.
it. Fucking. Oh, I thought it was boring. Like for me, the cardinal sin of a film is to be boring. And when I was a kid, I thought Bridge to Terabithia was boring. So I was like, "There's no fucking way I'm gonna like it now."
I thought it was boring as well, but then the girl dies, and then it's really emotional.
And then it became a 10 out of 10 movie.
Then I was like, "Oh my god, this is so emotional."
No,
it was always on Disney Channel.
It was man. That film was always on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
But like, but I remember like watching it and I was like, oh, I'm really fucking bored by this movie. And now the girl dies. I'm like, now I just feel miserable.
Nah, I think for me, it was like one of those films. Like there are always like original movies, and they'd have like an event every week for it. And usually those films were shite. They're like, you know, they're all like sort of the same thing. I can't think of any examples
like
now.
really shit, like surfer movies or something like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then they're playing this, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be shite. And I remember I'd seen it before, and I'd skipped it loads of times. But then I sat down and watched it one day, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And it was like, the girl dies, and the creek, and like, you know, like the imaginary world, and the little girl as well.
So fucked up.
I was fucked up, you know. There's a book as well, I think. I remember.
Yeah.
I like that film.
I don't know. Maybe if I saw it now, I'd enjoy it. But
if I saw it now, I'd probably hate it.
Yeah. See, that's it as well. Like, I'm never, ever gonna watch Bridge to Terabithia again. There's never gonna be a situation in my life where I'm gonna watch that movie, unless Isabel all of a sudden really wants to watch Bridge to Terabithia. I am never gonna watch this movie.
Yeah. It's in the past. But I don't get why people don't like it. I don't get why Neil would have such a like fervent hate for this film.
Because it's boring. Like
the worst movie of all time, though.
If you find it, man, I think like the worst films of all time are always like the most like boring ones. Unless it's like Love on a Leash, but Love on a Leash is also fucking boring. But like, like on a level like because like Neil's question then afterwards. It's in regards to Trolls 2, which is arguably seen as one of the worst films of all time, but it's also fucking amazing because it's not boring, because it's fun.
It's so true. That is a very good distinction. But my memory, Bridge to Terabithia, I can't have that molested. You know, I think it's amazing. I think I see it as like, you know, one of those kid movies.
It's it's like the Oscar bait of kids movies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like so true.
Like the Bridge to Terabithia for like adults is a 3-hour long film about race car driving. It's called Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah. A 3-hour long film about race cars. Yeah.
Last unpopular opinion is coming in from Jack, and Jack is saying Jaws the Revenge greater than Jaws. Now, this actually strangely enough ties in to what we were just saying there about like, I think, because I actually messaged Jack about this, like, not that I 100% agree, but it's an opinion that I can get behind, because Jaws, it's fucking Jaws. Everyone knows Jaws is good, but Jaws the Revenge also has the shark growling.
Is this the one with Michael Caine in?
It is.
Oh, I've heard a lot about this one.
It's the fourth one.
I've never seen it. Seen it.
I've never seen it, but I know a lot about it.
Mm.
But like again, this is like seen as like one of the worst movies ever made, and therefore it's fucking blasphemy to say that it's greater than Jaws.
Mm.
However, the worst thing a film can be is boring, and if you get more enjoyment, more entertainment out of Jaws the Revenge over Jaws, are you wrong?
Are you wrong? The answer is yes. No.
Yes.
The answer is
Jaws revenge is shit.
no. Hey, I have a little unpopular opinion as well. I don't think Jaws is that good.
I don't think Jaws is that good either, man. Jaws is like a fucking 6 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
That's just been praised because it's fucking Steven Spielberg.
Because it's like, yeah, it was a phenomenon. But like, I remember when I first watched it, because I used to like you'd see like older people like watching like the Jaws movies, and I heard so much about
Jaws is the greatest film ever made. It's a perfect film.
It's like when you're like fucking 7 years old, people would say, "Oh, my mom let me see Jaws. Oh, it's fucked up and all." You know, it's like, and then it was like building up this myth for me. And then I watched it when I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14, and I was like, "This isn't that good." Like it's a bit boring and nothing really happens.
Jaws is alright. Like it is only alright.
Yeah, but it's so like, I don't know. I didn't vibe with it. You know,
I was
didn't
thinking
get
about
it.
this. I was thinking about that when we got that unpopular opinion. I was like, I don't even like Jaws.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all right. It's good, but like it doesn't live up to the myth in any way, from what I saw.
It is probably. It's definitely like if I was to make like a list of like overrated films, Jaws would be up there. Jaws would be in the top,
way up there, yeah.
in the top 5, top 3, way up there. But Steven Spielberg as a whole would be up there as well. To be fair, I think Steven Spielberg is probably the most overrated as director.
It's definitely like a marketing thing.
But again, like, and you know, Jaws being like the first blockbuster, because you know it was a film that came out in summer and it was a film about summer and all that shit. Like, I don't know. I never found, even when I was younger, I thought Jaws was really boring. And now, when I'm older and I've seen it, I'm like, there's nothing there. Like, there's nothing. It's like man, I think Hitchcock is fucking boring as well. Like, I don't like Hitchcock films for the same reason. It's like building up tension, but me personally, I don't feel any of the tension at all.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, maybe it's like oversaturation because like everyone's heard the music and stuff. Like everyone sort of knows the story, like you know, the whole thing. But like, I just didn't vibe with it. Like the characters are great, but like even the way it's shot, just the most basic, generic.
Yeah, it's
nothing's
generic.
happening. Yeah, it's very generic.
But is it generic because that's the thing? This is the problem though with like going back to films like that and going back to films like Hitchcock as well, where like now I'm like, oh, it's really generic, but is it generic because it's the one that set the fucking the thing,
the ball rolling? Yeah,
it's the one that everything else is actually generic because it's based off this, because it's so Jaws is 1975. It's nearly 50 years old as well. Like, it's as nearly as old as Texas Chainsaw. However, Texas Chainsaw has aged like a fucking like a fine wine. Meanwhile, wine. Jaws has aged like a fucking
human
dead
corpse
carcass on a fucking table.
Yeah, I don't know.
But even that scene where people like rave about it, where they're like, you know that bit where they're all sitting around on the boat, and it's like demise, and shit like that. Like, oh, you can hear them howling in the seas for fucking ages and shit like that. I always thought that was fucking lame. I was like, that's just so fucking. I was like, oh, look at this sad character or whatever. But people tout it as like, oh, it's amazing character development.
Character development, like
Jaws 3D. Let me tell you, that's where it's at.
Jaws 3D. Like, I know who's in that again. Richard Dreyfuss, and who's the main guy?
Jaws 3D or Jaws?
Jaws.
Haven't a clue.
Great actors, but like, and that whole thing with the dolly, like I can't remember the term for it, where he like zooms in but also zooms out at the same time. I don't know, he pushes forward on the dolly.
Roy Schneider.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw.
Yeah, he's a king. But like, you know, that camera effect on the beach when he realizes the shark is there, and it's like,
oh yeah,
dollies in and zooms out. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. But like, that's it.
One cool shot.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and the rest you hear like factoids about, like, oh, the shark malfunctioned, and the reason that it's not really present in the film is because they couldn't show it because it didn't really work. It's like that's a cool fact, but like the shark isn't really like an overbearing presence in the film, from what I remember. Like, it's just sort of, it's there, and it's like, it is creepy
Just
when
stay out of the fucking water.
yeah, it's creepy when the fin shows up. But like, it's not like, oh, like they're sitting in like their fisherman's hut thinking, oh, he might be out there, you know, he might be like burst through the window at any moment, you know. It's a shark. It's in the water.
It's an evil where you know where it is.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But like, and then like Jaws: The Revenge is like, you know, it's touted as like, you know, one of the worst films ever made. But if it's fun, if you get enjoyment out of it, like I fucking loved, like we talked about this before, but like I love the Resident Evil films. They're not good movies, but they're a whole lot of fucking fun. And I would rewatch Resident Evil 5, like Retribution, I think it's called. I'd watch that 3 times in a row before I sat down and watched The Godfather Part 2. Easily
That's
would
bold.
do that.
That is a bold statement.
It is a bold statement, but it's true. I've never seen The Godfather Part 2, but I already know.
Yeah.
I already know that like I'd rather do that. I'd rather watch that film 3 times in a row. Because it's more silly, stupid fun, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But yeah, I agree with that. I agree. That's like some very, very good unpopular opinions that I agree with.
Some very popular, unpopular opinions in here right now. On this podcast.
Do you want to go with the first question?
First question. Have you walked out of a cinema before? From Liam. Have you on?
No, I don't think I have. No, I haven't. I've never done that.
I walked out of the cinema. Ever see Igor? 2008.
I know what Igor is. I've seen like bits of it, but like
I went to see that with my mom, my brother, when I was like 10 years old. 2008, and we're there for about like 40 minutes or something, and we just got up and left. It was like we all just like looked at each other. I still remember it very well because it's the only time I've ever walked out of a cinema. We just like looked at each other, and we were like, "This is fucking shite." Basically, didn't say that obviously, but it's like just got up and just pegged it, like, because it's just so boring, and it's like even I was 10 years old, I knew exactly where the film was going, and it wasn't. That's bad. You know, it was like, fuck that. Such a terrible film.
I don't think I've never walked out of a film. I really walked out of a fucking play. I went to Ian McKellen live, a one-man show at did I tell you about this?
No.
Oh, fuck me. I went to Ian McKellen one-man show in London last year. 2019, I guess. But we went, and the first, because we're like, oh, it's Ian McKellen talking about his life. It's going to be super interesting. Because, you know, it's Ian McKellen. How the fuck can this be boring? It's boring because he talks about Shakespeare for the first half, and barely talked about, you know, X-Men or, you know, Lord of the Rings. He starts off with that shit. He fucking did that on purpose. He comes out to Lord of the Rings music and, like, he has the fucking sword. He's like, "You shall not pass." All this fucking bullshit, right?
That's hilarious.
And then talked about Shakespeare for the rest of the fucking half, for the first half, right? Oh. And me and my family, we get up and we're like, God, that was fucking boring. And we're all like, will we leave? And I was like, I was like, no, you know what? He's going through his life. He went through all the play shit. He'll get on to, you know, X-Men and Lord of the Rings and all the cool shit that he did in the 2000s. And we sit down for the second half, right? Lights dim. Out comes Ian McKellen. And he comes out and he pulls out this, like, big box. And he pulls out, and I am not joking you when I say this, he pulls out every single Shakespeare play that there is, right? And he says to the audience, you shout out a name of a play and I'll tell you about it. And that was the second half.
What do people say? Talk about Lord of the Rings.
No one said anything. People were shouting out, like, because the fucking people were fucking loving, because, like, oh, it's Ian McKellen, our great British actor, talking about Shakespeare. I was in London, and, like, our great British fucking playwright. I was sitting there, and I was like, I actually want to fucking get down and punch Ian McKellen in the face. How fucking dare you subject people to this, you pretentious wanker.
That is hilarious. Man, that sounds like his character on Extras. Ever see that Extras episode?
Oh, no.
It's like there's an episode where, like, Ricky Gervais' character, like, wants to get into plays to prove he's a serious actor. And Ian McKellen, like, comes in and he has this ridiculous play where Ricky Gervais's character is like this pathetic person, and then he like slowly over the course of their rehearsals, he makes him more like he's like gay, and he's really submissive, and he just changes the character. But the entire time he's like winding up Ricky Gervais as much as possible. It just sounds exactly like like what you're describing there, like purposely going out to wind up the audience.
And man, the worst thing about it as well is that we were sitting in a place where we were in the middle of the aisle, and the place was packed because it's fucking Ian McKellen. Like, you couldn't fucking get up and leave. People did though. Brave souls fucking did, and people fucking stared at them. Like, you could see people giving them daggers.
Did you leave?
No, we sat through the entire fucking thing. I listened to Ian McKellen talk about every single Shakespeare play, and he'd pull one out, and he's like, "Oh, but fucking Richard the First or some fucking bullshit," and he's just like, "Oh, I was in this play in fucking 1970. You know who else was in this play? This other fucking Shakespearean actor that you have no idea about." Oh god, it was the worst. It was the worst.
You're fucking held prisoner by Ian McKellen for 2 hours.
And we all came out, and my dad fucking loves Ian McKellen. My dad loves Ian McKellen, and we came out. And we're all just like kind of shell shocked. I was like, "What did you think?" And my dad was like, "I hate Ian McKellen now."
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that is grim.
Oh, very grim. Then we got Isabel's question, which is, do you believe in aliens?
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Aliens are real. We've had this conversation many times. Many times.
No fucking way. And Isabel's been a part of our conversations about this as well. There's no fucking way there's not aliens. There's no way.
Not a hope. Not a hope. They're all
around us.
You
mean to tell me that in the vast infinity, and I mean infinity, that we're the only source of life? Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
In the multiple dimensions as well. Like, there's the fourth dimension that we can't see, and you're telling me that there's nothing there? No fucking way. There is no fucking way.
Yeah, apparently there's 11 dimensions.
What do you think God is? God is a being
He's
in
an
the fourth
alien.
dimension.
He's an alien. You know? It's like the whole thing, and plus, you know, we don't know everything. I read this thing the other day about how, like, the eyes, or like the human sensory organs aren't built to like see the world as it is. We're only built to interpret it that best suits our like chances of survival. So like we can't see everything. Like maybe rocks are also alive. Maybe they're aliens, you know? Maybe maybe Mars is actually a sentient being, you know?
Sometimes my cat stares up at the ceiling and I'm convinced that she's seeing shit.
Yeah, ghosts and stuff. Ghosts aren't real, but like maybe something like that is real. Like aliens that are also ghosts.
Other dimensional beings. They're
extra dimensional beings.
Like it sounds like bullshit, but like it's like scientists believe it's completely true. Like it's not made up. Like there are other dimensions.
Yeah.
So therefore, it is only reasonable to assume that there must be at least another form of life in those, at the very least, in other dimensions that you can't fucking see. That there has to be another form of life. That's not even taking into account that there's an entire universe out there.
Yeah, just in this dimension. It's like the Carl Sagan thing with the apple. You know, it's like you only see a cross section of it. You know, maybe we're the cross section. Maybe we're part of some like multi-dimensional being that we can only, you know, the limitations of what you can imagine stop you from being able to conceive of whatever this being is. You know, it's like it's all there if you think about it.
It's all there. It is all there.
You know?
Even if you think like the fact that like you know, there's germs in your stomach. You know, they're probably just kicking about, not even aware that they're in another fucking being. And what if we're that as well, you know?
Exactly, yeah. Or
and there'd be no way to prove it or disprove me. You can't prove me wrong.
If you can't prove me wrong, it means I'm right. That's a fact.
Yeah,
look it up.
Fact.
Look it up.
unless you can prove that the earth is round, I'm fucking right when I say it's flat.
And plus there's water on Mars and stuff. There's water everywhere.
Did they find something in Neptune, in like the clouds in Neptune or some shit like that recently?
Did they?
It was on Neptune. It's one of the other planets. And they think they found like bacteria.
Did they? Man, they found. Remember that UFO video came out and people just forgot about it.
And there's loads of UFOs. I'm pretty sure I read something the other day that like the US government, like, no, maybe it's not the US government, but like or something along the lines where they're like, yeah, we think that we came into contact with aliens.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like there was some video. No, in 2004, these like fucking jet fighter guys.
Are you talking about the fucking Tic Tac thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They-
yeah, yeah.
they-
Man, I saw. Man, I'm fucking sharing that fucking that YouTube video that I found. It made Neil Riley. Shout out to Neil Riley. He showed me a whopper fucking video about that.
Yeah, yeah. That was only recently, and it came out. Or no, so basically like these jet fighters ran into like this like UFO, which is like just like an unidentified flying object. You know, everyone knows that. But this wasn't just a UFO; it was under the sea, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" Oh no, wait! It started in the air, and it was like moving at like right angles and shit, and like but like moving way faster than the planes. And they're like, "What is this?"
They were like doing a scan of like this area or whatever, and they found like these objects were flying through the sky, but they were dropping in altitude like in an instant. Like they'd be like 10 meters above the water, and then within a split second they're like fucking 50 meters above the water. Like they were like moving and like side to side, everything. They were moving like in completely like in ways that
Impossible.
like defy the laws of physics.
Yeah.
So they sent a bunch of planes out there to see what was up, and they said that they saw a floating Tic Tac.
Yeah, yeah. It was under the water at that stage, and they have video of it. And the guy who exposed this video is the former lead man, I think, of Blink 182, which I'm sure we all love. But he exposed this.
I do.
He exposed this back in the day, like 10 years ago. People were like, yeah, whatever. And then just there in like, I think it was like early 2020, like I don't know who said it. It was like the Pentagon or one of those like agencies in the US were like, yeah, this is actually a real footage, and we have no idea what those things are. And like, I don't know why they said that, but they
I
did
don't
come out
think
and say it.
They didn't call them UFOs, I think was the video that I watched. They called them something else because they didn't want people to think that it was aliens, but it's fucking aliens.
It's aliens. It's either aliens or it's like a warning shot to China or something, you know. They're like, oh yeah, this defies the laws of physics. But it's actually like their technology, and they're just trying to like get it out there. You know,
Chinese.
something like that. You know, maybe it's the Chinese. I don't know. But either way, this video, there's objects in it that defy the laws of physics, and it's been verified as a real video. It's a fact. Aliens are out there, and
It's
they're
a
flying.
fact.
It's a fact. Look it up. Look it up.
It's a fact. Aliens are fucking real, 100%. Actually, I need to show Isabel that fucking video.
Yeah.
'Cause I never showed her it.
The truth is out there. Mulder was right. The X-Files was a documentary.
And then moving on to our last question. Holy shit, this went on for way longer than I thought it would. Funny.
It's maybe the longest ever Parapod.
We got a question coming in from Neil Wall. And Neil's question is, why is Trolls 2 the greatest film ever made? Now, I'm snapping because I didn't get to see this film with yous. So, Mark, you're going to have to take the lead on this one.
Troll 2. You really missed out, man. You really missed out.
Man, I know I did.
We-
I was snapping.
I think we rented that didn't we rent that on the same day? Like we're in the Black Dog together. Or-
Oh, man, we always went to Black Dog together,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
assume we did.
But yeah, Patrol 2. One of those famous. You can like stick it into YouTube and like look it up.
Movie so bad that it's good.
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube and you find like the best scenes. But like it's so bad that it's good because it's quite short. And it makes no sense, but it makes no sense in a way that's extremely like it's a
Enjoyable.
laugh. It's a laugh a minute. It's so enjoyable. It's a sequel to a film that has nothing. It has nothing to do with it. It's a sequel to
I've seen the original Troll.
really.
Can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's called Troll 2, but basically it's actually about goblins, and they're always referred to as goblins, and there's no mention of trolls anywhere in that film, and it's hilarious. There's just so many like different scenes. It was shot, it was made by like an Italian crew, but basically even the script was written by someone who didn't speak English. It was like an Italian guy, so that's why like the lines are all extremely wooden. Like you have like
Oh my god.
oh my god, the acting is like that's a whole different thing as well. But like there's a part where like the father challenges his son to a hunger strike, and there's like really like weird scenes where it's like a cultural kind of like it just doesn't translate well into English basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it happens in every single scene, and it's just and there's like a floating head that's the grandpa. It's like I don't know. It's hard to. You have to watch this film.
You have to watch
this film. It's
Yeah.
It's like an enigma. It's so hard to explain because you have
It's
to
like
see it to
one of
believe
the
it.
greatest disasters, but also magnum opuses, masterpieces of cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they did a documentary about it recently. Like the kid is like the sort of the star of the show in the film, and he's like grown up now, and he made a documentary about the making of the film, like recognizing its like cult status.
It's because like The Room. Yeah, no, The Room is definitely more famous, I think.
This
than
is
Troll
this is a
2.
lot funnier than The Room, I think.
Yeah, I think because The Room is fucking boring as well. Like,
Yeah, it's a bit boring, but yeah, he made this film anyway, and there's this one scene in Troll 2 where like this like lost kid wanders into like a shop in like the mysterious town. It's called Nilbog, which is just Goblin in reverse. It's so good, but it's nothing to do with trolls. It's with goblins. So this lost kid wanders into a shop, and it's like the shopkeeper just like emerges from out of a curtain, and he's like, his eyes are wide, and it's like the creepiest scene in the entire film, and he looks crazy, he looks fucking insane, and he starts trying to sell him milk, and the kid's like, he's dehydrated, he's like, yeah, I'll take it, whatever.
I'll drink the milk.
And he starts drinking it. It's like green shit or whatever. But like this is like famous as one of the weirdest scenes in like the weirdest movie ever made. And the documentary is sort of explaining the backstory to the scene. And the crazy shopkeeper with the wild eyes, he was actually an escaped mental patient who wandered onto the set and like accepted a role in the film in return for like $50. And he was they did an interview with him, and he was talking about how like he was like addicted to drugs at the time, and that's why he looked so strung out, because he was literally he had to like smoke a joint and do a line before he went onto set. But like he literally wandered onto the set from a mental institution, and like and like that's basically how, you know, the ethos for the rest of the film. It's just completely ad hoc, insane, batshit crazy stuff. Like,
in a way, I think I haven't seen it, but this might be the greatest film ever made. It's pure cinema.
Cinema. Yeah, it's great. Definitely give it a look.
Yeah, and if it's not long, then I'll definitely check it out. Because Troll 1 is like this. It's a nothing movie. Like there's nothing spectacular or anything about it. So I always wondered, why the fuck is there a Troll 2? And then Troll 2 is, you know, one of the worst movies ever made. Like,
yeah,
quote unquote.
Yeah, it's 94 minutes long, so it's not pushing the boat out there, you know. It's actually the perfect time, perfect running time for a film. Mm-hmm. There you go.
It did one thing right.
Yeah, one thing right, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that there, Mark.
Leave it there.
Ah, fuck! It's my recommendation. Shit.
We'll think about it.
Okay, so my film recommendation for episode 23. It's gonna be a film I haven't actually seen.
Oh.
It's a film called Threads.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Do you know? Have you seen this film?
No, I've heard all about it though.
So this is a film from 1984, directed by Mike Jackson. It is famous for how realistic it depicts nuclear disaster.
It's a British
nuclear
film,
warfare. It is. Yeah, that's my film for episode 23.
Happy days.
Yeah, I guess that's the end of the episode. So,
is that?
All right, thank you very much if you are still listening. We'll be back next week with just a random whatever episode talking about shite.
Absolutely, same schedule.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye bye.
God bless. Bye bye.